This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana Kozlov.
And I'm Adriana Sinclair. Great to be with you this morning. Thanks for joining us. We are in weather alert mode this morning, tracking some rain and potential snow this evening. Our first alert weather team is timing it all out for you.
And reports that Northwestern University is in danger of losing hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funds. The university is one of many schools the Trump administration is targeting amid a, quote, civil rights investigation.
And this global trade war is escalating this morning as tariffs on dozens of countries take effect today. And new this morning how major U.S. supplier China is now fighting back.
But let's start with that weather alert. Meteorologist David Yeomans in the First Alert Weather Center now with more on that. Good morning, David.
Good morning to you both. It's dry out there right now under gray skies, but don't be fooled. You will need the raincoat as cold rain becomes widespread by midday today. The radar not showing a whole lot except for a few light snow flurries at this time, but between 10 a.m. and 9 p.m., periods of mainly rain, occasionally mixing with a cold, wet snow. The impacts are not big snow accumulations, but just wet roads from lunchtime through the evening drive. Slow traffic, I think, pretty likely at the 5-6 p.m. commute. The radar is really not showing much. A lot of this is not reaching the ground, but a few sprinkles trying to in the Ottawa area. The main storm is still approaching our area from the southwest, and you can see on the radar loop how the rain will be increasing in our area. So temperatures colder than normal by 15 degrees today, a high of only 42. Precipitation chances, they're low right now, but they go sky high by midday. On and off cold rain and a few wet snowflakes likely through the afternoon. But coming up, we have a huge transformation in your weekend forecast in First Alert Weather. Back to you.
All right, David, thank you. We'll see you in a bit for those details. And now we turn to your nonstop news, and we start with a reported federal funding freeze for Northwestern University. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars on hold, and it's not just at Northwestern.
Yeah, this is all coming from the Trump administration, which links the freeze to unspecified anti-discrimination rules. Our Darius Johnson live at Northwestern with how this could impact the university. Good morning, Darius.
Hey there, ladies. Good morning to you. According to White House officials, $790 million in funding has been frozen here at Northwestern University. All of this comes as the government investigates alleged civil rights violations at the school. Now, we know this money fuels research and other programs across multiple agencies, and all of that could now be at risk. Now, the freeze affects grants from agencies like Defense, Agriculture, and Health and Human Services. Northwestern says federal dollars also support life-saving research, which is now in jeopardy. In a statement, a Northwestern University spokesperson says they have not been officially notified of a funding freeze. They only found out from media officials, while adding they've cooperated with federal investigators and recently released a progress report outlining support for Jewish students. That support includes mandatory anti-Semitism training for students, faculty, and staff. Now Northwestern is the first non-Ivy League institution to be named in this federal review. Harvard, Columbia, and Cornell have also received cuts as well, and they say those cuts are related to various issues like diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and the handling of protests against the war in Gaza. Back out here live this morning, Northwestern leaders say they are still looking for clarity at this time since they were not notified by the federal government. They are worried and they are seeking that clarity so that they can figure out exactly what comes next and how this could impact the institution. We're live here at Northwestern University. I'm Darius Johnson, CBS News Chicago.
Darius, thank you. And now to a shooting that injured a driver just before he crashed into a light pole. It all played out around 4 o'clock this morning near Harrison and Independence Boulevard. Police say 2 men walked up to the 56-year-old man in his car and opened fire, hitting the man in the neck. They then ran off. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition.
And a crash on 71st and State leaves several people hurt. According to police, a silver car ran a red light and then it hit a black Jeep around midnight. Police tell us injuries now range from a punctured lung to some other critical injuries, and a 1-year-old boy was taken to the hospital to be treated as well. Police say citations will be issued in this. And 2 customers at a Pilsen restaurant take out their anger over a food order on a waitress.
This morning, police are looking for those customers as the employee nurses serious injuries. Now, the owner tells us 2 women ordered food to go, and then they brought back containers with the food half eaten. When the waitress waitress told them there was no refund, things turned violent. Surveillance video shows one woman behind the bar dropping a waitress's phone into a full pitcher of liquid. The customers pulled down decorations and physically attacked the waitress, and that's when the owner walked in.
Her head, her arm, her finger.
Bruise everywhere, right?
Yeah, and the other finger, he's broke.
It's a shame that it happened to the worker, just caught off guard by something like that.
The owner filed a police report. The customers originally called 911 when they were denied a refund, but they were long gone by the time officers responded to the fight.
Well, an owner is shot while walking his dog in Pilsen. A man, Ricky Valabos, says he was out with his husky near Cullerton in May. It was early in the morning, around 6. That's when two teens started cursing at him, and he says one fired shots. Valabos, who has a concealed carry license, fired back.
I did what I had to do. I didn't want to die on the streets, you know, and I didn't want to kill him either. Believe it or not, I was praying that I don't kill anybody. So that's hard.
Valabos says he's not sure if the teens were hit, but he was shot in the leg. Police say the teens drove off in a Lexus. So far, no one is in custody.
And breaking overnight, the trade war between the U.S. and China is intensifying. China raised tariffs on U.S. goods this morning, just a few hours ago, to 84%, effective tomorrow. That is up from 34%. In a statement, China vows to fight to the end against President Donald Trump's tariffs. The Chinese government did not say whether it will negotiate with the White House to try to bring tariffs back down, but so far it has not seemed interested in doing so.
And this just in, European Union members have approved new tariffs on $23 billion worth of U.S. goods. And this is all in retaliation, of course, to the president's tariffs placed on the EU.
Yeah, many went into effect today. This all comes hours after reciprocal tariffs went into effect on goods from dozens of countries. And now higher prices are expected to trickle down, well, to all of us. It means electronics and clothes will likely be more expensive. CBS correspondent Jared Hill says there is a silver lining. He's here now with more on what products will not go up.
We're making deals and people are paying tariffs.
President Trump championed his new dose of so-called tariff medicine as he says countries are flocking to negotiate with the new reciprocal tariffs hitting overnight.
They're giving us everything.
The president says leaders from Japan and South Korea are headed to the U.S. to negotiate. Vietnam and Zimbabwe have said they would scrap tariffs on U.S. products. The EU has said it'll eliminate tariffs on industrial goods and cars if the U.S. does the same. But no progress with a defiant China. Following Trump's 104% tariff, this morning Beijing upped its tariff on American goods to 84%. The tit for tat likely meaning more expensive electronics and clothing. Imported produce largely spared, most coming from Canada and Mexico, which have been exempted. But food industry experts warn some prices may rise quickly for some perishable staples like bananas.
Fresh products, because you can't build up inventories and there's a limited lifespan, you will feel that quickly, maybe as soon as a week or 10 days.
On Capitol Hill, some Republican senators challenged the White House's strategy during a hearing with the U.S. Trade Representative.
I'm just trying to figure out whose throat I get to choke if it's wrong.
As financial markets continue their roller coaster.
It's still early innings in seeing what the final shape of tariff policy for the United States is going to be.
Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
And we want to give you a live look now at the big board at the New York Stock Exchange. Of course, the market's opening for the day just about 39 minutes ago. And it opened down, but right now the markets are looking up 90, now up 105 points. It keeps changing there, but that is a significant change from just 39 minutes ago. It comes after it closed down more than 300 points yesterday. It has also been a mixed day for world markets, with China's markets up, but the rest of the world in the red. We will talk with business analyst Jill Schlesinger about the impact President Trump's tariffs are having on the markets and what happens next.
Well, the acting commissioner for the IRS is resigning amid the agency's decision to share immigrants' information with Homeland Security. Now, Melanie Krause informed her staff of this decision just yesterday, but she's not the first to leave. Several other senior IRS officials have also left the agency. Now, the exodus comes on the heels of an agreement between the IRS and Department of Homeland Security to provide taxpayer information to federal immigration authorities. The Trump administration says this would be to find and deport undocumented immigrants. Krause is the third leader of the IRS to leave this year. And a federal judge says the White House ban of the Associated Press is unconstitutional. U.S. District Judge Trevor McFadden said viewpoint discrimination, as he called it, goes against the Constitution. Now, earlier this year, the Trump administration imposed a ban on the AP. The decision came in the wake of the AP continuing to use the phrase Gulf of Mexico. The decision did not immediately restore the AP's access, though. The judge is allowing a week to allow the White House time to appeal the decision. Still ahead, a roof collapses at a nightclub in the Dominican Republic.
How crews are increasing efforts to find survivors who may be trapped under the rubble. That's next in Eye on Your World.
And we're continuing to follow the impact of new tariffs on dozens of countries, this time digging into how it will affect prices on certain products. That's next in Money Watch.
And we are under a weather alert today for cold rain beginning in just a couple of hours. But after a couple more days in the 40s, look at the warm up this weekend. And by early next week, 73 in Chicago. A live look at radar where rain and snow are moving in already after this.
Welcome back this morning. A deadly roof collapse at a nightclub in the Dominican Republic is topping our Eye on Our World.
Crews worked through the night, digging through debris, hoping to find survivors. Officials now say at least 113 people have died. It happened Monday night during a concert in Santo Domingo. Crews are using heavy machinery, hoping it will help find survivors under the debris. Iconic merengue singer Ruby Perez, who was performing at the club, is now confirmed dead. Two former Major League Baseball players also died, including Octavio Dotel. He played for the Chicago White Sox from 2008 to 2009.
The charity Save the Children now says federal cuts to the USAID program led to the deaths of 8 people in South Sudan. At least 5 kids were on a 3-hour walk to find medical treatment, and they set out for help after those federal cuts forced local health services to close.
The problem in South Sudan, as you said, there is a security situation. Right now, there is violence that is happening, especially in the greater Upper Nile area. And in those locations, there is already violations of serious rights of children, women across those states. And so that is, of course, putting a lot more pressure on the work that we are doing.
That's a director with Save the Children, by the way, and he adds that the group supported 27 facilities in eastern South Sudan, but with these cuts, 7 were forced to close completely, and then 20 others are now partially closed. And on the Money Watch this morning, we're looking ahead to a few things. First, we got next week's tax deadline, and then we're also talking about the impact of President Donald Trump's tariffs.
Widespread tariffs are now in effect, as we've been telling you, for dozens of countries, with both the China and European Union already hitting back. Goods from China are getting the worst of it, now facing a 104% tariff. So let's bring in CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger this morning. Jill, let's start with taxes, though. What should you do if you haven't filed your taxes yet?
I might cancel your weekend plans, gather up your documents, and fire up your computer. That's because the quickest and most efficient way to file is electronically. Don't forget to use direct deposit. That's how you get a refund the quickest way. To reduce errors, how about double checking a few things? Social Security numbers, choosing the correct filing status. Make sure you claim the deductions and credits you're entitled to. Put brackets around negative numbers. And of course, do not forget to sign and date your return.
And if you owe the IRS money, but you can't afford to pay it right now, what are some options for people watching?
You know, the agency has short and long-term payment plans. It stretches your payments over many months, so I think that's a good idea. They actually also offer credit card payment. Don't do that. It is the most expensive way to pay your taxes due to the fees associated with the cards. Also, don't forget, if you don't pay off that credit card balance, now you're paying high interest on your tax bill. Terrible.
All right, let's get into those tariffs now, if we could. With more tariffs taking effect today, including some new ones against the U.S., what should we prepare for when it comes to the cost of goods? Will prices go up even more, and how soon?
Well, think of it this way, that until the inventory is depleted, everything is the same. So what do we go through most quickly would be groceries. So I think fruits and vegetables, that's where you're going to see the first price increases. All these big stores are going to go through their inventory, and yeah, avocados are going to cost more. But you'll see in the coming weeks, if these tariffs stay in place, we'll see a change for apparel prices, footwear, electronics, toys. We know that it'll take a while to get to the auto dealers because they still have cars on their lots. But I suspect that auto prices, used cars, new cars, auto insurance is likely to rise as well. And that's because it will cost more to repair a car. So it's going to be significant. I don't think anyone is talking about the kind of inflation that we saw back at the worst of the summer of 2022. We're not talking about 7, 8, 9% annual inflation. But it is possible that the inflation rate moves from below, say, 3% to above 4% if these tariffs and the retaliatory tariffs all stay in place.
All right, Jill, thank you so much. So much ripple effects that we'll have to wait and see for a lot of it. And you can see Jill regularly on CBS Mornings, and she's on there a lot right now because we all just have a lot of questions that we want answers to. Jill, thanks.
Something new happening every day, too, in that world.
Yes.
Let's turn now to David Yeomans with a look at our forecast today.
And it's dry right now if you look outside, but things are going to be changing over the next few hours. So we want people to be prepared with their jacket for the cold weather and rain gear if you're walking to or from the train or bus. Periods of rain and even a little wet snow mixing in, increasing through the next several hours. Tomorrow, it's not as bad as today, but it's still brisk, a little foggy and gray. This weekend, though, finally a big warm up coinciding with your Saturday, Sunday plans, and some sunshine coming back for us as well. Right now, it's cloudy. We don't have a lot to show you on the radar, but I do want to tell you just southwest of the city from Joliet and Orland Park into parts of DuPage County, a few little tiny snowflakes might be falling. Now, air temperatures at the ground level are above freezing, so this isn't sticking. It's not causing travel problems, but you might see a couple of those on your way to work. Overall, the storm system that's causing wet weather, especially later this afternoon and evening, is still to our southwest, and you can see the mass of cold rain increasing southwest of us as well. This is the storm that'll be responsible for an uptick in wet weather locally through the rest of the day. Periods of cold rain, the main thing that we'll see, but a few ice pellets or snow flurries, as I just showed you on radar, cannot be ruled out. Notice the air temperatures, though, through the day, well above freezing. That's why we're not worried about any winter weather roadway impacts. Notice the latest data on the high-resolution models still indicating that the rain slowly increases, including in Chicago, between now and noon. Then the wettest part of the day likely to be this afternoon and evening. So school pickup time, 3, 4 o'clock commute, it's in the low 40s. We have rain likely in Chicagoland. And this evening, periods of on and off rain will continue. This pink color, which may be at times over our area, that's a little mix of ice pellets or a few snowflakes. Wet weather continues on a cold, rainy Wednesday evening. Then this storm moves out to the east by tomorrow. We're left with a cold lake breeze and cloudy skies with just a few sprinkles. As I mentioned, the rain will be widespread today, but it's not terribly heavy. Under 1/4 inch now, looking like the most likely outcome, with a few totals up to a 1/2 inch possible. Today, 44 with a mix of rain and snow and breezy winds. Tonight, the rain moves out, but fog moves in, and that cloudy gray sky with some fog keeps us cool tomorrow at 45. After that, a little sun comes out with cool weather continuing Friday. This weekend looks great. The beginning of Passover, 57, 66 on Sunday, and 73, at least for one day, next Monday. So we'll look forward to that. Dana, Audrina?
Yeah, we're going to be marking it on the calendar.
That's it.
We got it. Monday. All right. David, thank you so much. Well, 100 years old is a major milestone for anyone, but we're talking to a woman who's celebrating 107 years. The big birthday bash for her straight ahead. Plus, Jackie's checking out a spring getaway option that's not too far away.
Audrina, good morning to you. If you're craving a little bit of warmer weather right now, it is always 84 degrees in the Great Wolf Lodge Water Park. So we finally made it to the main attraction here at Great Wolf Lodge in Gurnee. I'm here with Aubrey and Maddox this morning, who are about to take on a big slide for us. But you guys have actually been to this water park before. What do you love most about it? The wave pool. Oh, the wave pool, which is far in the back. And what about you, Maddox?
I like the water slides best.
The water slides best. Okay, so coming up in about 20 minutes, they're going to be taking on this big water slide right over here, which is Coyote Canyon. And yes, you see the 1,000 gallons of water splashing down from that Great Wolf Lodge bucket that tips over every 3 minutes here at the water park. We will see you back here for a great ride in about 20 minutes, but we'll see you right after the break. You guys, yay!
Today, the Chicago Park District will discuss the skate park next to the Kennedy Expressway in Logan Square. The Logan Boulevard Skate Park was built in 2009, but now the nonprofit Logan Square Skate wants to work with the Chicago Park District and IDOT to expand the location. The nonprofit has raised almost $800,000 in community partner funding for the project. They now want the Park District's help in funding, designing, and helping ensure it's maintained. The meeting is taking place at the Sherman Park Fieldhouse near 52nd and Racine, if you're interested.
Well, more than 100 veterans are now in our nation's capital after taking an honor flight earlier this morning.
One of them, one of those veterans is a World War II veteran. Others served in the Korean and Vietnam Wars. Honor Flight was started to recognize veterans' bravery, determination, and patriotism. The 114 vets are spending the day in D.C. visiting national memorials, and they will be back home around 8 o'clock tonight. This is Honor Flight Chicago's 120th flight.
Well, a Pittsburgh woman is celebrating a major milestone. She is 107 years old, and her friends at her nursing home decided we're going to throw her a party.
She is the oldest resident we've had. We've had some that were 102, but not 107. So this is truly a special day for all of us here.
I'd say that's a flex, being the oldest resident at our nursing facility. This is Miss Saunders, by the way. She says she's originally from the South, and then she moved to Pittsburgh when she was a young girl. In honor of her great accomplishment, Miss Saunders received a proclamation from the state of Pennsylvania. I can't imagine being 107. I'm like, wow, girl, you made it a long way.
Yeah, that is quite a life for sure.
Yeah, and she's wearing her like fancy suit too to celebrate her birthday. I'm like, oh girl, I love that.
Yeah, I do too. Well, next, a newly remodeled Save-A-Lot store opens in Chicago's West Lawn neighborhood. How residents are reacting to the renovations after expressing concerns in the past.
This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning and great to be with you. I'm Adrena Sinclair.
And I'm Dana Kozlov. It is 9:30. Thank you so much for staying with us. We want to begin now with your first alert forecast as we're in weather alert mode, tracking cold, rain, and even some snow. Meteorologist David Yeomans is in the First Alert Weather Center right now. And David, you're saying that there's some flakes falling on the far south or southwest side?
That's right. Joliet, Orland Park, starting to see some little ice pellets and some snowflakes. Now, this is not going to be a big winter storm here, thankfully, on April 9th, but it is going to disrupt a lot of your rush hour plans later this evening. Cold and mainly dry right now, but the weather alert today is for periods of rain and snow on the increase shortly and continuing for many through late evening. The main impact, not a big winter storm, but wet roadways from cold, steady rain and a slow evening commute. A pretty good bet. Here's what we're talking about on radar. We have some light rain down in LaSalle County, but a little band of light snow and ice pellets confirmed by our observers on the ground from Joliet up to Romeoville. This is moving into southern Cook County, so a couple little flakes flying along with some cold raindrops on the south side over the next 30 minutes. This is all part of a bigger storm with heavier rain just over 100 miles to our southwest. That storm system is what moves our way through the rest of the day. This means temperatures 15 to 20 degrees cooler than normal, and starting midday through this evening, a likelihood of on and off cold rain mixing with a couple snowflakes. Soon, though, we've got 70s, guys, coming back in the forecast, so we'll talk about that in just a moment.
Oh my goodness, can't wait for that.
Same.
David, thank you, especially after today.
Yeah.
Well, new this morning, West Lawn celebrating the return of a neighborhood grocery store.
The Save-A-Lot at 63rd and Kenneth just reopened to customers about an hour and a half ago.
Got it, buddy.
The first 100 customers there got a free bag of groceries, but those aren't the only giveaways planned today. We were inside as people zipped through the aisles, filling their carts. Customers told us they are happy to shop at the store.
We're very, very pleased that we were able to fulfill our commitment to remodel and reopen grocery stores.
I like the prices. I like the service. I like everything about Save-A-Lot. It's just one of my great stores.
The company leader said that they are committed to this community. They also made a $1,000 donation to the West Lawn Little League as well. This is the 6th store, by the way, of parent company Yellow Banana that has reopened in Chicago.
Marissa Perlman is in West Lawn, where it's been a journey to get this new store.
Getting here has been a bit of a process. Neighbors have fought Save-A-Lot moving into their neighborhood, saying that the company sells lackluster products. The company first announced renovation plans backed by city tax incentives, or TIF money, back in 2022. They announced last summer that they were planning to reopen 6 discount grocery stores across the Chicago area. This West Lawn Save-A-Lot was actually supposed to open in February, but the company says it faced unexpected project delays. The renovations were supposed to be done by March 31st, or they would risk losing those TIF dollars. But a city-approved extension pushed that deadline back to September, and here we are on opening days. Reporting in West Lawn, I'm Marissa Perlman, CBS News Chicago.
Our thanks to Marissa. American shoppers are now bracing for economic impacts as President Trump's reciprocal tariffs went into effect on goods from almost every country on Earth today. Goods from China, the tariff now at 104%. Now, China responded, upping its tariff on American goods to 84%. That'll mean more expensive electronics and clothing, according to economists. But the White House says countries are coming to them. Leaders from Japan and South Korea are headed to the U.S. to negotiate. Vietnam and Zimbabwe have said they'd scrap tariffs on U.S. products. The EU has said it will eliminate tariffs on industrial goods and cars. If the U.S. does the same, prices may rise quickly for some perishable foods, though.
Fresh products, because you can't build up inventories and there's a limited lifespan, you will feel that quickly, maybe as soon as a week or 10 days.
Last night, President Trump announced tariffs on prescription drugs could also be coming soon. Well, let's take a live look at the big board at the New York Stock Exchange right now. And right now, the Dow is up at 185 points, and it's continuing to go up. That's up 0.5% actually. Investors, though, continue to brace for a possible roller coaster day after yesterday's 320-point drop. Most world markets, though, are down, with only China seeing an increase this morning. Chicago's mayor is looking down the financial road and sounding an alarm of sorts for members of the city council. From deficits here to instability on Wall Street and in Washington, it's setting up to be a challenging budget year.
But many are saying they raised red flags long before President Trump was elected. Our Chris Ty reports on what else the alders are saying.
Look, this president is an absolute nightmare.
The mayor using President Trump's policies as a backdrop for what he claims is in store for Chicagoans.
That impact is quite severe in Chicago. It could cost the average family about $4,000 additional dollars in taxes. And it could impact upwards of 11,000 jobs.
City Hall finances also likely to suffer. In this urgent plea to alders, Johnson wrote Monday, this volatility combined with the projected budget gap makes it all the more important that we work together. I'm asking all of you to lean into this process with the urgency it requires.
We were talking about this last year.
Alderman Scott Waguespack says Johnson is late to sounding an alarm that many on council activated last year.
One of us is being truthful. One of us is actually connected to reality, and I think time is going to show which one of us is correct.
Over 20 members of council called for the same collaboration with the mayor over 4 months ago, writing, "We take you at your word and want to truly collaborate." A collaboration alders say never happened.
This motion passes.
As Johnson zeroed in on his budget, ignoring, they say, evaporating COVID dollars and not cutting city programs deep enough, driving up the deficit. Now the mayor wants their ideas, but he has a message.
The conversation cannot start off with cuts. That's my orientation.
When you say I don't want to start with cuts, what would you like to? Where is the?
We have
where
to
is the
start with revenue.
That's a failed fantasy. Yes. I think the first thing you have to do is look at the cuts that you need to make, the hard choices that taxpayers are going to have to make, have to be made at City Hall too.
That was our Chris Ty reporting. And now there's also the question of how deep is the city deficit. Mayor Johnson says that it's going to come out to around $1 billion this year. Others say it's over that, and some estimate with kicking cans down the road, it could be closer to $3 billion. Mayor Johnson also highlighted recent construction projects yesterday. This includes resurfacing 175 miles of streets. You'll see upgrades to 400 intersections to make them safer for pedestrians. Also, 70 new green alleys will be installed to help improve stormwater drainage and also reduce flooding in our alleys. There's also plans for a new runway at Midway, which is a $57 million project there. And Chicago City Council is making another attempt to crack down on rogue tow truck companies. It's an issue we've been reporting on for years now. We've shared some stories of the accident victims who've been slapped with thousands of dollars in fees from some tow truck companies to get their cars back. Well, the measure discussed just yesterday in a committee at City Council, it passed unanimously. The proposed ordinance would allow CPD to tow bad tow truck drivers. It also allows victims to file suit.
As we begin to deal with this issue, the bad actors are going to try to find ways to skirt the system. And so we just got to continue to have this evolve to make sure that we can finally put an end to this.
The ordinance goes to a full City Council vote next Wednesday.
The trial for the former sheriff's deputy charged with killing Sonia Massey will move out of Sangamon County. Sean Grayson's attorneys argued coverage of the case had made it virtually impossible to get an impartial jury. The judge agreed, and now the case will be heard in nearby Peoria County. Grayson is charged with first-degree murder for shooting Sonia Massey in her home after she called police for help during an apparent mental health crisis.
The CTA is giving dozens of people who have a barrier to employment a second chance. Dozens of second chance apprentices participated in an expungement workshop hosted by the CTA. These are individuals who have either gone through the justice system, experienced homelessness, or are domestic violence survivors. Workshops include direct legal guidance. Through this program, the CTA has hired over 3,200 people.
It is almost as competitive as applying to college, and if you have little ones, you know applications for preschool at Chicago Public Schools are now open. You can submit all of your information online at chicagoearlylearning.org. CPS offers a free full-day program for 4-year-olds and half-days for 3-year-olds. Here are the dates you need to know. As we mentioned, the application period open now. You'll find out where your preschooler was placed on May 22nd, and you can apply to change that placement the following day. You can get updates on the link you see right there on your screen. Well, next, it's a sign of summer when the Buckingham Fountain is turned on for the season. How you can be the one to switch that display on.
And a sign of spring. Everyone headed to the Great Wolf Lodge. That's where our Jackie Kostek is this morning with so many activities to enjoy.
And a few sprinkles, snowflakes, and ice pellets moving into the south side at this hour. Live view from Wright Field shows gray skies and temperatures above freezing, currently sitting at 40 in Chicago. It'll be chilly for the next couple of days. Average highs are in the 50s. We're stuck in the 40s, but look at the ramp up this weekend, and 73 by next Monday. A live look at radar when we come back.
On the Health Watch, get the measles vaccine. That is the message now from Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
And it comes after 2 unvaccinated children died from the disease in Texas. Kennedy spoke exclusively to CBS News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. John LaPook.
We encourage people to get the measles vaccine.
Okay, so that, I mean, I think that's actually the next step, and that's news as far as I'm concerned, that you're saying that. What's the position philosophically of the federal government in terms of public health?
The federal government's position, my position is people should get the measles vaccine.
Kennedy went on to say he doesn't believe the government should mandate vaccines, though. Well, turning now to today's Jump Start, we're talking a little spring escape that's not too far away, Great Wolf Lodge.
Yep, the resort in Gurnee is holding its annual Spring Breakout celebration from now until April 27th. Our Jackie Kostek joins us live with a look, and this time at the water park. And I mean, Jackie, what a day or a week even to be inside enjoying all of that water fun.
Yeah, Dana and Audrina, while it's still pretty cold outside, even in the month of April here in Chicago, you can definitely come out to Gurney, to the Great Wolf Lodge, and it is always 84 degrees here in the water park. And I think for a lot of people, this really is the main attraction. I mean, you're driving down the expressway and you see the water slides poking out of the building. So that is just a great advertisement right there. We've actually got a couple kids at the top of the Coyote Canyon right now. That is Maddox and Aubrey. Hello. Okay, they're going to go down right now. They're going to go down right now. It looks really fun. They're actually going to be on a tube together, which is also pretty cool. All right, you guys can go. All right, and now I'm here with Brianna, who's the general manager here. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
This is such a fun slide. I feel like it's such a showstopper when you walk in here and you see the sort of cyclone action that the kids enjoy. What is that slide like to ride on it? I assume you've gone on it once or twice.
I have a couple of times. I definitely would say that's one of our high thrill rides here for sure.
Absolutely. And then at the top of that platform, that's where you find the rides that also poke out of the building, right?
Yes, 4 rides up there. 2 of them are our body slides and then 2 are our tube slides. So you can find a friend and head down or go by yourself.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of a walk around Fort McKenzie, which is actually at every Great Wolf Lodge across the country. So any lodge you go to, they're always going to have this sort of main playground set up with all of these water slides included. That is our friend Ryder right there. And then on the purple slide, we've got Gemma who's going to come down. So talk about the different age groups and how everyone sort of can have a great time when they come here.
Yes, Great Wolf Lodge offers something for everyone. From our smaller pups, we have this Fort McKenzie and a splash pad. But if you're looking for something more high thrill for our older guests, we have a wave pool and then a bunch of different attractions throughout our water park. A lazy river. Yes. Hi guys!
Hey guys! Did you guys have fun? Okay, Gemma, what was it like to go down the big purple slide?
It was awesome.
It was awesome? Okay, I know you've come to the water park before too. What is your absolute favorite part of the water park?
Probably the slides.
The slides. How fast did you go?
Very fast.
Very fast. Ryder, did you have fun too? Okay, cool. Well, you guys go off and have fun, okay? Go off and keep playing. There's so much to do. And then there's also the wave pool in the back. There's a lot of other activities. So, and then what's really cool about this water park is it's actually included in the night pass here, right? So you stay a night here and you actually get 2 days of water park fun.
Yeah, so for an overnight stay, we invite our guests as early as the water park opens. So come enjoy a full 2 days with us.
Yeah. Okay, I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. I appreciate it. Let's see if we've got the other kids down there at the end of the slide. Well, we know they made it down, but I think they're far. Hey, there they are. Good job, you guys. Good job. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, was it pretty awesome? Okay, awesome. So the Great Wolf Lodge open 7 days a week. Obviously, you can come in here. And again, the water park is included with the night stay. So a good opportunity to come out. And you know what, you guys, I was asked if I wanted to do the water park today. I said no, but now I'm regretting that because it is hot as heck in here. It is 84 degrees and I'm sweating.
Yeah, you need to actually be in a bathing suit to be in the water park, I've learned over the years. Otherwise, you're just like, whoo, my goodness.
Yes.
All right, Jackie, thanks so much.
Lesson learned.
Yes, lesson learned.
Of course.
Stay away from the big thing that dumps all that water on your leg. Yeah, for sure. All right, Jackie, see you later. David, back now. I mean, again, like I said to Jackie, you know, if you want to have some water fun, you need to be indoors.
Oh, yeah.
84 inside or 40 degrees and sleeting outside?
Take your pick. Just flip it, right? 84, 44, whatever, right?
Well, we do have a big warm-up to look toward this weekend, which will be really pleasant after this week we're getting through. But today, actually a weather alert for some nuisance weather that's heading our way. It's not here yet for most of us, but periods of rain, sleet, and snow are increasing through the next several hours. Tomorrow, it's not quite as wet, but it is still gray and it is chillier than normal. This weekend, though, a big welcome warm-up is heading our way with some sunshine. First alert radar right on schedule, showing a few sprinkles, ice pellets, and snowflakes from the Eisenhower southward. Notice this mix of blue and green. This is not wetting roadways a terrible amount because it's very light, but a couple ice pellets, snow flurries are extending now into northwest Indiana. Valparaiso, Gary, these are most likely to be snowflakes, as you see shown shown by the blue color on radar. And not everybody has anything falling from the sky. Joliet, Aurora, dry, but light to moderate rain now on the increase in Grundy and LaSalle counties. This is all part of the surface low pressure or storm system that we told you would develop overnight. There it is near Kansas City, moving our way. And it's not going to be a total rain out, but as this moves our way, we've got a little light wintry mix this morning, then an increase in mainly cold rain, but also possibly a few snowflakes this afternoon and evening. This could really affect your evening commute as it looks right now. Latest high-resolution models showing that band of very, very light snow. This model a little bit aggressive, but showing its position quite well. This will be increasing and staying with us over the next few hours. But also, notice as air temperatures remain not only above freezing, but above 40, this will be transitioning to rain. And even if you do see some ice pellets or snowflakes, it's not sticking to anything, especially the roads. This afternoon, we may get a brief break, but some scattered rain showers continue. This evening, there's still a question mark on the backside of this storm system if this massive rain may hold off until after our evening commute, or if it comes in during. Either way, periods of cold rain are likely this evening, and it's quite possible that it slows down your evening commute. So join us back here for our 5-6 o'clock news. By tomorrow morning, most of this is out of here, but we've got cloudy skies and cold lake winds that will be staying with us. Latest rain projections are widespread, but kind of light, under a ½ inch most everywhere. I think about 1/4 of an inch to 1/3 of an inch will be the most common rain totals that you see. So today, highs in the 40s. This is 10-15 degrees below normal and a mix of rain and snow. Not a pretty day today. Fog developing tonight with a low of 36, and tomorrow not as wet, but it is cool and gray. Here comes the sun for the beginning of Passover and breezy warm winds Sunday and Monday. 60s are going to feel great on Sunday afternoon, guys. I think that's patio weather considering the week that we've got, right?
Oh, yeah. 50s are patio weather considering the week we've had.
We'll take it all. That's right.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, you could be the person to flip the switch and turn on Buckingham Fountain this year. ComEd and the Chicago Park District are looking for that special someone to turn on the fountain at the Switch On Summer Festival in Grant Park. Illinois residents can now enter a sweepstakes to win. Just go to learn.comed.com/SOS25 or just go on ComEd's website and search this. You do need to enter by next Friday at noon to submit an entry. The festival, by the way, is free and kicks off at 11:30 on May 10th. Well, if anyone's binge watching the hit show The White Lotus, remember they will mention that poisonous and deadly seed.
Well, today we'll be learning more about this tree from the Field Museum. Not only is the pong pong tree real, but the Field Museum has samples of the poisonous seeds. The museum keeps them stored in a locked cabinet full of poisonous plants in their botany collections. The Field Museum says it will be showcasing these seeds at their Meet a Scientist event on Monday.
Every White Lotus story this week, we've been closing our ears. Don't spoil it. Don't tell us what happens if you're catching up like we are.
Yep.
Well, coming up, a look at the stories we are following today, including why Northwestern University could lose hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding. We'll have that story after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's a look at the stories that we're keeping an eye on today.
And we start in Evanston, where Northwestern University reportedly facing a federal funding freeze, and it's a big one. The Trump administration apparently pausing $790 million to the university. Officials tell the New York Times it's related to several ongoing, credible, and concerning Title VI investigations, but there were no details other than that. A statement, though, from a Northwestern University spokesperson says the school has not gotten any official word from the government. They heard about this from news reports.
The investigation continues as a driver was shot before crashing into a light pole. Now, this happened just before 4 this morning near Harrison and Independence Boulevard. Police say a 56-year-old man was inside his car when 2 men came up to him and shot him in the neck. Police do not have anyone in custody. The shootings closed southbound Independence Boulevard between Harrison and Congress.
Save-A-Lot just reopened its store this morning at 63rd and Kenneth in West Lawn, and the first 100 customers got a free bag of groceries. They lined up quickly there. But those aren't the only giveaways planned. Company leaders say they are committed to this community, and this, by the way, is the 6th store of parent company Yellow Banana that's reopened in Chicago.
And we have a weather alert in effect starting now through the rest of your day. Only a few sprinkles and flurries out there if you're about to hit the road, but shortly periods of rain and snow increase, and they're with us on and off all all the way through the afternoon and evening. Wet roads and slow traffic, my main concern, especially this evening. You can see rain chances only get higher from here. So maybe a good day to stay indoors if you don't have to be out and about.
Yeah, if you can, that'd be good.
Right.
And not to drive home from work if you don't have to either.
If we had that option.
Well, don't stay at work.
Yeah, I guess that's not a great option either. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us here on News at 9. Your local news continues right here on the stream.
Yeah, we always appreciate you being with us in the mornings. We'll see you tomorrow morning, too.